Some of you guys already knew this video was coming. If you went on my YouTube page over the last week, you probably noticed that the banner had changed, or if you follow me on Instagram, I posted my little green machine. So as you guys can tell from the title of this video, this isn't my usual kind of list video. This video is going to be me being as transparent as possible to you guys on why I traded my Camaro SS for a Golf GTI. Now I know that to a lot of you this is certainly a downgrade, but before you click off this video and shake your head at me, please hear me out. This may apply to some of you, and I'm hoping that if any one of you guys can relate with me even the slightest, please let me know in the comment section below. Anyhow, on paper, the Camaro SS is without a doubt the better performance car. Whether it be on the track or in a straight line, no doubt if we're just focusing on performance metrics, the Camaro SS is the superior car. However, over the last few months since moving to Phoenix, I've recently come across a financial mentor that has already forever transformed my life. So having said that, the first reason why I got rid of the Camaro in favor of the GTI had to deal with my personal finances. Now before I continue, I just wanted to be clear that I'm not struggling financially in any way. In fact, I'm making more money than I've ever made in previous years, and I'm saving more. It's just that my priorities and what I value are slowly shifting. The person that I was at 21 years old is not the person that I am now as I'm heading towards my mid-20s. For the longest time, I've refused to believe what people older than 30 years old were telling me, that in your 20s, it's the defining time of your life and that it'll be over before you know it. As I reflect over the last 3 years alone, I'm at the age where half of my friends are still acting like they're in high school and just being immature, spending willy-nilly on objects they don't need, and the other half are getting engaged, married, having kids, or owning a home. The list goes on. Admittedly, I didn't care a whole lot about what was gonna come in my 20s. I just wanted to go at my own pace and enjoy every second of it. Now don't get me wrong, I still want to enjoy my 20s, but I couldn't financially justify owning a Camaro anymore. So onto the juicy stuff, the numbers. In 1 year alone, I'd be saving around $750 in gas, assuming premium gas stays around $3 a gallon, that I drive around 14,000 miles a year, and that my Camaro's combined MPG was around 20, whereas my GTI is currently showing 31. I also called Progressive and was quoted about $680 a year less for the same coverage on my GTI. To register my GTI, it was about $140 cheaper. And finally, my APR on my GTI was 1.9% for a $30,000 out-the-door car, compared to my Camaro's SS's APR of 2.4% for a $40,000 out-the-door car. You don't need to be a mathematician to realize that after 1 year alone, I'd be saving around 15, 16, possibly upwards $1,700 a year. Times that with the life of my loan or ownership of the car over 5 years, 60 months, you're looking at a savings in the ballpark of anywhere between $6,000 to almost $8,000 for 5 years. Now to a lot of you, you may think 6 to 8K isn't a whole lot, especially over 5 years, and I tend to agree with y'all. But now I see that money as my future wife's engagement ring, as well as some money putting towards a home. But the real kicker that tipped me over to sell my Camaro was a conversation that I had with a tall, handsome guy around my age. I'll call him Tyler. One day, while driving back home to my apartment complex, I saw this beautiful C7 Admiral Blue Grand Sport 2LT outside a garage. Tyler had just stepped out, and I decided to befriend him. He was elated to talk about his recent brand new purchase, the Grand Sport Corvette, and I came to know that he was a car guy as well, so we talked about upcoming mods, what mods we've already done, how quick our cars were, etc. So naturally, being about around the same age, I was in awe how this young man was able to afford my dream car. However cliche it may sound to y'all, but the Corvette has always been my dream car. It was the poor man's Ferrari, or as some call it, the working man's supercar. To me, it was the attainable dream car that I could proudly one day daily drive. So as I was talking to him, I finally asked what he did for a living. I was admittedly expecting for him to say something along the lines of he was an aspiring entrepreneur or a small business owner, or something that wasn't a typical 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 desk job working for some boss. But surprisingly, he proudly said that he was a Chipotle assistant manager. Now, having worked in the fast food industry myself throughout the last 2 years of high school, be it through McDonald's, KFC, and Daylight Donuts, I knew instantly within a given range what he was earning. That number was around $40,000 a year, and yet he had a car that was around $70,000 brand new out the door. At this point, I was subconsciously carrying a conversation with him, but I couldn't help but think to myself that, holy cow, this guy is making less than half of what I'm making, but has a car that's nearly twice as much as mine. How does he afford this damn thing? Granted, I don't know his whole life story, I'll admit to that. He could have very well have gotten his money from his parents, he could have had multiple sources of income, he possibly paid off a massive down payment on the car, whatever. However, as we continued talking, we started venting about our student loans. I had recently just paid off mine this past April, or I believe March, and he had about $19,000 left. At this moment, I started to realize that our priorities were different. Despite being both car guys, he clearly valued owning a nice car over paying off his debts. So I share with you guys this story because there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting nice things, and I know I can't ultimately tell you all what you can or cannot buy, yet there's a difference between how much one can buy versus how much one can afford, in my opinion. Frankly speaking, money doesn't come easy. I know with YouTube, oftentimes some of you younger folks are still highly impressionable, and that a 20-year-old can afford a supercar with ease. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out and hustle to get a supercar at a young age. It's totally possible. Hell, all the big car channels have done so. I'm extremely proud of them and how inspiring they are. However, for the average Joes out there, myself included, it's evident that most people are buying out their means, so I'm trying to escape that rat race. Hell, as a nation, we're over $1 trillion in automotive debt, so it's safe to assume a lot of people are financing their cars, myself included, and some owe substantially more than others. Real quick, I'll share with you guys the polar opposite of Tyler. My buddy Derek is also a car guy, except he owns a 2016 Scion TC. Just to really put things into perspective, he makes as much as I do. We're both IT dorks, geeks, yet he has a car that's under 18K, give or take. So now let me ask you guys this question. Would you rather be Tyler buying a car that's nearly double of your yearly income, or Derek that has fully paid off his car and is now on his way towards buying a home? One person looks rich, the other is financially stronger. Personally, sometimes I wish I was Derek. I almost went down the same path as Tyler last year when I was about to buy a C7 Corvette Stingray. And I'm gonna be blunt, I don't want to rent for the rest of my life. I want to call something truly mine. I want an actual home very soon, like my own garage, my own space. So it was an easy decision for me to sell my Camaro for something more practical. I had these internal conflicts for the longest time about whether or not I should just give up on car culture, and I wasn't ready yet. I still enjoy cars very much, I still enjoy motorcycles, so I wanted to find that delicate balance between being somewhat more financially responsible but still adhering to what I truly loved. And not only that, I took you guys into consideration. I knew full-heartedly that if I were to get a non-car guy kind of car, like my Camry for the matter, that I'd possibly lose credibility. I've seen other car YouTubers downgrade or switch cars too often, and they tend to slow down drastically. Their channel either loses subscribers, they slow down, or they're just not growing as fast as they'd had hoped. So I'm hoping that some of you guys out there watching could at least relate with me or see where I'm coming from. So again, I still wanted to be a car guy, so that's kind of how hot hatches became an option for me. They were practical yet sporty, so they were kind of easy to justify. I gotta admit, at first I thought hatchbacks were dumb. I thought they were this weird crossover between a sedan and an SUV. And I'll admit to being biased because I've only ever known and owned rear-wheel drive cars with naturally aspirated bigger engines, V6, V8s, and of course they were coupes, to purchasing now the polar opposite, the car in the GTI, where it was front-wheel drive, turbocharged 4-banger hatchback. Thought I'd never do it. Then I test drove one and was surprised. Then I researched about their potential and was even more surprised. So now I can proudly say that I'm a hatch boy. Now finally, onto the second main reason why I sold the Camaro. It was because of my Ninja ZX-10R. Why, you ask? In short, it spoiled me. Before I got into motorcycles, the Camaro was my toy that happened to have a trunk. Unfortunately, over the last few months, I started falling out of love with the Camaro. It almost became like just an ordinary car to me. And that's kind of sad. I wouldn't wash it for weeks on end even. The ZX-10R and even the R3, however, became my go-to fun machines that I take care of, that I modify and I go hooning on for a fraction of the price of the Camaro. Just to put it in perspective, the ZX-10R is almost as fast as the McLaren 720S on paper. I knew that I wouldn't get anything remotely that quick on four wheels anytime soon. And I know that I'm comparing apples to oranges, but they're still performance machines, and even still, I couldn't justify the Camaro. It just wasn't practical. I hated always denying my coworkers a ride because I couldn't only take one of them. The trunk opening was mediocre at best, and overall the Camaro just didn't serve one of its major purposes, and that was to be a fun toy. So again, it was an easy option, an easy decision for me to choose a hatchback because I could seat 4 adults comfortably, haul quite a bit of stuff, and hopefully still be accepted as a car guy to y'all. I'm very excited for the future of the GTI, and it's my hope that y'all will bear with me, especially the American car scene. In the coming days, I'll talk about the GTI's quirks and features that my Camaro certainly didn't have, and go over the ceramic coating that I've already done to it. So please stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.